So Wisconsin law establishes a 10%, generating 10% of our electricity from renewable resources by 2015. Yet, in the effort to reach those goals, wind farms, projects like that run into local opposition. There's concerns out there about drawing a lot of this renewable electricity from neighboring states, things like that. What would you do to make sure that Wisconsin hits those goals, or would you change those goals?
Well, and it's so puzzling to me as a business owner to look at how government acts and how they think they're going to get responses. Government thinks if they mandate and dictate and tax that they can get what they want. What government should be doing is getting out of the way to encourage businesses to develop these products in a market-driven manner. That is to say, when the business does it, it is financially profitable to the business so they can employ people, and it's also economically desirable for the person that's purchasing it. If the government would get out of the way, we could develop and achieve these goals independently in the private sector with market-driven solutions that create jobs. And I know a little bit about what I'm talking about, folks, because the last thing we did before I left the home building industry is we designed and built a home that literally produces all the energy it needs for heating, for cooling, for running all the appliances, and enough extra electricity to get an automobile back and forth to work. Now, it wasn't overly hard to do that. We used geothermal and solar. What was difficult was to make sure that it was market-driven and economically viable on day one for the people who own the house. My point would be, we have now figured out how in housing to produce this product that's going to make all the energy it needs, not only for the house, but also to get an electric automobile back and forth to work. And we have done it in a way that makes economic sense for the people doing it. The market will drive us to the solutions if we get the government out of the way. So again, to be very clear on this, I oppose government mandates. The subsidies that the government is currently supplying should be reduced and eventually eliminated so that the market can work. The technology is advancing and the costs are coming down substantially faster than the government obviously realizes going on. So get government out of the way, let the free market system work, and we'll not only achieve those goals, but we'll go far beyond that. I want to relate how I look at energy. When I was in college, we used computer punch cards. We'd have to have a stack of punch cards this thick, and the mainframe computer we used would have certainly filled this room. In one short generation, we've gone to a cell phone that has 10 times more power than that computer. Folks, when I think about what's happening in solar, and I'm not a wind farm person, I'm not an expert on that, I know there's a lot of conflict in that area. But when I look at the solar work that we've been working in the areas that I have some degree of expertise in, the technology is advancing just like the course of action on those computer advancements. If somebody would have said a generation ago that mainframe computer was going to transform into a cell phone with 10 times more power, they would have been called a crackpot back then. And frankly, it happened, folks. It happened, and we watched it happen. So conceptually, the idea of moving to a state and a nation that does not rely on a foreign country for its energy, and that is able to produce that energy here, it's happening. And it's happening very, very fast around us. In the home building industry, again, it's where I come from, so it's where my expertise is. There are many people out there right now working on projects and product that are talking about making shingles for the roofs that are actually solar panel collectors that produce energy. So this whole world is changing so fast, government doesn't get it. They need to get out of the way and let the private sector people do this in a way without their interference, get the mandates out of the way, get the incentives gradually decreased until they go away and the market system can work, and we will in fact move to independence in energy. I do not envision the United States of America dependent on foreign oil a generation from today. I just do not see that as the way this nation's going to be. So you can mark my words, I'll be dead and gone, but you all can check up my words 1 generation from now.